take home the gold. He could be too far. No, he's kicking. Oh, what a catch!
Puts a spicy forehand out in front of Naomi Morcilla.
Wu for the win. Team Canada. Garrett Wu!
Santos with the layout grab.
Oh, that fantastic grab. The claws of Chaffer.
Canada just became the world champions.
Canada and the rest of the world, you're listening to the Huckin podcast. Two hosts again this week. I'm one of them, Theo Wan, living in Kingston, Ontario.
And I'm Danny Froby from Vancouver, BC, and we're your coast-to-coast guide to all things Canadian Ultimate. Now, Theo, the get to know you last week was a little sad. I didn't get to know anything about you. You didn't want to have a conversation with yourself?
Well, it was very short. It's just weird. Like, oh, Theo, what'd you do this week? I did this. It's like, just kind of weird, you know?
That's fair. Well, what have you been up to? What'd you get up to this week?
Watching the Blue Jays absolutely be bad. So that's not good. They're in the midst of a playoff race, folks. And, that's what I focus my time on. So it's all about watching the Blue Jays right now. They're not doing so well, at least at the time of this recording. This is like random, not random, but like there's some sad stuff happening with my favorite college, Michigan State. So I'm like, there's a lot of weird stuff happening at that university. I'm starting to lose trust in them. So anyways, I honestly haven't been playing any Frisbee. So there's like no Frisbee happening. It's just like regular world stuff, you know?
Like college football.
Yeah, college football's out here. Texas had a big win. Not that you knew about that, but yeah, lots of happening in the college football world for sure. So that's actually what I've been up to. You've been playing though. I don't think you played this past weekend.
I had a training camp. Like basically,
training camp. Yeah,
our practices our fields are hard to come by, so we're making do. We had a 4-hour practice on the weekend. It was really fun. And yeah, our Elevate programs kicked off for the fall this weekend. So I got to see all of our coaches and a bunch of new kids that came into our programs from summer camps. And it was awesome to see kids out playing Frisbee. And only one kid got stung by a wasp. And it was so sad, but so cute. You know, it's like, I know you're in pain, but they're just like such little munchkins and like want their mommies and daddies. And it's just very precious. So that was my weekend. But I am...
As long as the kid's not allergic, you know?
Yes. I mean...
That's the dangerous part.
A little ice pack was all that this kid needed. And then I gave them a little like silicone bracelet that said Elevate Ultimate. And I'm like, this is for your bravery. And then he got back in the game. So all is well. He survived.
Yeah, that was always a tip when I was teaching. Like if a kid fell down, especially the younger kids, I would not react like the world was ending. I'd just be like, yeah, you're good. And then usually, like, it depends. Obviously, you have to, like, analyze if the injury's, like, actually severe. But if a kid just, like, falls to the ground, like, playing basketball, probably going to be okay. But if you react like they're, like, dying and bleeding out, then they're probably going to, like, cry more, you know?
Okay, speaking of bleeding out.
Oh, gosh. This was not planned, folks. This is really not planned. We love it.
Another kid at a program. Okay, so this is, maybe I shouldn't be sharing this. Well, I'm not sharing names, so it doesn't matter. But I'm helping coach this like younger group. It's like 7 to 9-year-olds, I believe.
Hey, that's a good age group.
Maybe it's like slightly younger, but they're super cute. They use the silicone discs from Discraft, so they're not like painful if you get hit in the head with them and stuff. Like they're bendable, but you can still chuck them really far. Like they're perfect for those programs. But this girl in the program, she was just done playing this game. We were walking back to get water, and she like looks at this other girl. She's literally like 2 feet from this girl, looks at her face, and just throws the Frisbee into this girl's face. And they're both like little babies, like precious little munchkins. And it was like cold-blooded when she did this, just like chucked into her face. And I was like, oh. And then the one girl, I put her head down and I was like, oh, she might cry a little bit, but I'll just ignore her, which is what you said. And then I saw a drop.
Well, don't ignore, but like, you know, like
I wasn't looking or whatever. And then I saw like the other girl went up to her. She's like, oh my God, are you okay? I'm like, no, you just threw a Frisbee into my face. But like, so I see a drop of blood, and then I'm like, oh no, she's gonna have a little bit of a nosebleed. And then it just gushes. It just gushes and gushes and gushes. And the kid's mom's there. Now she's wailing, crying. It's a whole thing. And the mom's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I know it was just an accident. And I was like, accident? Oh my gosh. This was
Yeah,
premeditated.
It sounds like premeditated, but yeah, sometimes like this is where Danny and I vibe, because as both, I can say this, ex-teachers, we can like actually have a very commonality with this. But I think sometimes when there's parents around, it actually like can make things worse. Doing like my experience with youth programs, often if the kids just by themselves, like chilling and having fun with the friends, it's way easier to deal with something like that than when the parents are around and they see them, they're like, oh, I'm gonna start crying now. Blah, blah, blah. Like,
Yes.
yeah.
We used to actually make a rule, especially when we were doing our indoor programs, that parents weren't allowed to watch. Just to like let the kids,
or at least the kids don't know that they're watching. Like maybe it's like some like double mirror or something.
Yeah.
But like, because the kids knowing it like does affect
it changes how they play. They're always looking at their parents for validation. They can't just,
yes.
But I like when the parents are there. They get to see the vibe of the program and they're chilling together. They're playing with my dog. So anyways, let's move on. This is boring, boring children camper stuff. No one cares. Okay. We do have some things to announce in the news, fresh off the press. So we'll head to the news real quick. And then we have our main event, which is just kind of like a big roundup. Is like the sectionals recap preview situation is the main event, even though it's kind of newsy.
Previewing what teams will be at regionals and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll head to the news and we'll see you in a sec.
We now have breaking news.
All right. Welcome to the news. So this maybe won't be fresh off the press by the time this airs, but this news did come out within hours of us recording this. So for us, this is news. I've personally been waiting for this announcement for a while. I've been like sending out my feelers, trying to figure out what's going on with this because I want to play. But our World Masters Ultimate Championship, basically Team Canada, Masters Team Canada, the head coaches have been announced for 2024. So we have Carlos Baus is going to be head coaching the mixed masters team. If you've listened to our podcast, you've heard us say his name before. He's been coaching in Ottawa for quite a while, working kind of with juniors, but also with the college scene with Carleton Open and women's. And he is currently the coach of the beach mixed masters team for 2023. And yeah, he's just adding another Team Canada to his resume. So super exciting things for Carlos. I'm look forward for you to read my application.
Yeah, you may be receiving applications from two people that you know, is all I'm saying. We were joking that we should do like a subs only where it's like, saying what's up. Put us on the squad. Anyways, Open Masters, Warren Tango here. I've seen him coach in Toronto for a while. Union's been quite successful. They're coming off a silver medal finish. So he's also played too. So it's not just the coaching. His profile is saying medals of all colors. So I like that because that means you won, you lost some, and you have that burning fire to get back to that level. He's also on the, what is this, GMO? Is that Grand Masters Open for the beach? And this is kind of cool because I know, Dan, you've done something similar, I believe. I don't think it's the same program, but he's coached the Reach Up program, which introduces Ultimate as an expression of healthy and active living to remote First Nations communities. This is specifically in Ontario, but you've done something kind of elsewhere. Yeah,
Ultimate Spirit is based on Vancouver Island. Is Reach Up still doing stuff? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
I think I was hearing a lot about them before, and I was really keen to learn more about that program. But yeah, that's cool. I've coached against Warren when I coached U24 at Tux. And what I appreciate about Warren Tang is that after the game, he came up to us and told us specifically what about our strategy and style of play challenged them and what they think that we could work on in order to challenge them more. And I think that kind of sharing between coaches after games is really invaluable and kind of an insight to kind of a little bit of his coaching philosophies and growth mindset. So the Open Masters team is in good hands with Warren Tang. Now we have the Women's Masters coach, Anne Boulanger. So she's been a competitive player in the Ultimate Canadian scene, household name for decades. So she's also from Ottawa, and she's been playing with the University of Ottawa, Stella, Capitals, Scandal, Stello, among many others. She's represented Canada 5 times at various world events, including captaining the 2013 World Games and most recently at the 2023 World Master Ultimate Club Championships. So obviously a storied career and just looking to make her waves as the head coach of the 2024 Canadian Women's Masters team.
Yeah, formerly Anne Mercier, for those maybe you're like wondering. Won a couple titles with Scandal back when Opie Payne was on that team as well. That was kind of when I was getting to Club Ultimate, so I remember them talking about Anne Mercier being from Canada. I was like, pretty sick. She was like a big part of that squad. So last coach, Grandmasters Open, Kevin Vigar, what's up, from Toronto. Yeah, he has kind of helped reignite, I like that, or bringing it back from the dead. How about that? Come on. The Tombstone program. So that's pretty cool. Let's see. He has played multiple North American Grandmasters championships. And then he was also the head coach and player of the Grandmasters Open squad that didn't actually play in 2020. Actually, during COVID, fun fact, I actually got to practice with his team, Tombstone. So I went out to a couple of their practices. So it was kind of fun to see him and some of the some former GOAT players out there, Phil Watanabe as well. So, yeah, excited that he's coaching that squad. I'm not sure if he's coaching and playing because he, at least in this profile, said he was head coach player in 2020. So I wonder if Anne Boulanger is coaching and playing as well, or just coaching.
Probably just coaching, but I'm also curious why there's a women's open mixed and then a Grandmasters Open. Like, do they think that there's not going to be enough athletes to make a Grandmasters mixed team? Or
yeah, that's actually surprising because usually you would see like if they just thought there wouldn't be enough for Grandmasters, they would just have mixed so that they can get like, I saw Facebook comments about it saying, well, what happened? Like, where's the Grandmaster mix?
Oh, is there? I haven't seen that yet, but I love me some drama, so I'm going to go over there right now. Oh my
gosh. Yeah, go right now. I think there's some on Instagram. Well, maybe I actually haven't looked at the Instagram, so yeah, I mean, it is interesting what divisions the Ultimate Canada will send teams in. I feel like, someone wrote, what about women's Grandmasters or mixed Grandmasters in Instagram? But these are Masters players, so maybe they're not on Instagram. They're going to be focused more on the Facebook comments, okay? So, Danny, look at the Facebook comments.
So, we actually have an official Ultimate Canada employee commenting in here saying, so far,
is it batch?
No. These are the only divisions confirmed by WIFDIF. It's possible there will be others, but nothing else confirmed yet. Tryouts have not been announced yet. So that answers that question. So if you are curious why there isn't a Grandmasters mix, is because WIFDIF has not said that is a division that will exist at this current moment. But yeah, so the tryouts are not necessarily announced yet, or whether there will be tryouts or not. I assume there will be, but sometimes there just aren't. Like for beach, there weren't tryouts. Last cycle for the 2020 season that was canceled, there were tryouts. People had to fly to Ottawa to try out for the mixed teams. So maybe that'll happen again.
Yeah, I for one want the tryouts. I think it's a good experience for people. Yeah.
It's hard to find good weather in the East and field availability.
Okay, so let's go to the West. I'll go to the West. I'll fly out.
All right, cool. See you soon.
I mean, honestly, I didn't have enough time in Vancouver. Like, it was nationals, and then I went home and then had to work. So
you went for a really nice walk with Danny and her puppy, so you did get to see some of Surrey.
Yeah, some like random neighborhoods. That was fun. I mean, I didn't get to do all I wanted to do. Like, I wanted to see, the Vancouver Canadians baseball game. But, anyways.
It's pretty fun.
That's the news.
That's the news.
I mean, it's quieter now, but hey, the other news is rosters are dropping for college teams.
Yes.
So we've been getting information from college teams. So college teams, listen to this. Send us your roster info, and also some other things we've sent an inbox to people. So I'm excited to kind of get the power rankings going because people are gonna be dropping that in the team chats out here. So college time.
And now it is time for the main event.
This is Nick McFadden from the University of Manitoba Open Team, your 2022 CUUC Division I Open Champions, and you're listening to the Huckin podcast, your coast-to-coast guide for all things Canadian Ultimate.
All right, everybody. Theo is going to kick us off with some more sectionals content starting in the open division.
Yeah, men's. I still find it very curious that USA Ultimate calls it men's. But anyways, we're going to start West Coast, Best Coast, because we're just going to go geographic. So men's Washington sectionals, there were 12 teams, 6 bids. There were some, they're not just like furious going. Surf went there as well. So they went 1-on-1 pool play, which is cool. Oni was there as part of this tournament, but Furious wins it all. I don't, I'm going to be honest, probably not really tested there. You're wondering why they played this tournament. Well, it's because they unfortunately did not make nationals last season, so they got to play this tournament. So that's why. Surf and Oni actually had to play each other kind of in like looks like a 6th place, like kind of like quarter kind of deal. And Surf won 14-12, but their run ends when they lose to Soof 12-10 in the game to go, it looks like. So South? Is it South?
Because it's South End. It's the South End of Seattle.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
Because there was a team called End, like the women's team was called End back in the day, so there's South End.
No, there is I think they still exist.
Yeah, but that's like something like End. It's like a decolonization team name. Anyways, we should actually find out a little bit more about it because it's pretty interesting what they've got going on. But
okay, so anyways, Surf loses in the game to go. That's all you need to know.
Yeah. All right, we're going to head over to mixed Washington sectionals. So it's not necessarily whether you go to nationals means you can skip sectionals. I think it's like playing in specific tournaments. So Red Flag did go to nationals last year.
Oh wait, you're right. Yeah, what?
But because they didn't play in like Pro Champs or US Open or any of those kind of major events to have like, I think that's what matters. So like Traffic went to Pro Champs, and so then they didn't have to go to sectionals. I think that's kind of.
I guess you're right, because Red Flag made nationals. I was talking to Mr. Keith Rayner, a listener, and he said elite pro flight teams, and I was like, okay, but then
they have to go to the events.
There's an elite pro flight team here in Red Flag, and they're going to sectionals. So what's up with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for the clarity.
So
fact checking us right on the pod.
Yeah, I'm here for it. So we have Red Flag in attendance. We have TT in attendance, and Mola. Was that it for BC teams?
Yeah, that was it.
All right. So Red Flag actually got to face off against TT right away, game number 1. So I know it was TT and friends. It's not all exactly the TT roster from the summer. I know they have some pickups, especially from Forever Young as well. So TT and friends. Red Flag takes care of business 13-4. Then they play against Grit City, which ended up kind of being quite a close game, like relatively speaking, for what Red Flag kind of was experiencing. And they ended up winning that game 13-9. And then TT ends up overtaking Grit City 12-10. Based on the scores against Red Flag, you would think that Grit City would beat TT, but TT overcoming this means they just need a little bit of time to warm up, get that chemistry going. And in the other pool, we have Mola unfortunately losing their first game by 1 to Garbage. Some of these Seattle team names are just hilarious.
There's so many Seattle teams.
I don't understand.
I was like, how do the Seattle have so many teams?
I guess because it's like it's in their hood. They just like create a team, and then
but like it's so many. It's too many.
Yeah, it's true. But then
sorry,
Mola ends up playing BOP and loses that.
Bop.
Is it Bop? But it's all capitals. So Bop. They end up losing to Bop, unfortunately. So Red Flag ends up playing Bullet Train in kind of their quarter situation. They win that, no problem. They play Lights Out in their semi. They win that, no problem, 15-5. And then they play against Spoke, which was the number 2 seed. So this kind of went chalky-ish. They win that 14-10 to win sectionals and go to regionals. No one's surprised. And then we also had TT playing against Spoke in quarters, and TT ends up losing that right away. So TT ends up playing Bop and winning by 1. Looked like a fun universe game. And then they ended up losing after that to Lights Out. And how much did they end up finishing 8th?
Well, they lost to Grit City, and like these brackets are very complicated, but they lost in the 5th place semi, and then eventually they play in the game to go against Bullet Train, and unfortunately,
they lose by a couple.
They come 8th.
Yeah, so. Unfortunate. Mola goes 1-1 in consolation play. So great to see BC teams out there. I'd love to see even more next time.
Yeah, let's overtake the Seattle teams out there. Okay, that's the goal. Women's Washington sectional, 6 teams, 5 bids. So one team going to be left in the dust. And fortunately, it will be none of the Canadian teams. So Drift goes 3-2. Hucklebears go 2-3. So the Drift Hucklebears game, that's pretty spicy. It was Sunday, 11 a.m. Drift wins 14-13. Did they play at National?
Oh, Nationals? No, but they played at regionals, and Drift Hucklebears actually won at
Yeah. It's a little revenge game. I like that.
There's actually like quite a bit of a cross-pollination between the two teams because there's a lot of players that played for UVic, and maybe Hucklebears moved to Vancouver and now playing Drift. So there's a lot of ties between the teams. And so it seems like it's a really nice kind of community vibe. Like, it's a lot of Vikes players on both teams.
The Vikes out here. Underground, kind of the top seed, they really showed their might. So unfortunately, Drift and Hucklebears, tough showing against the number 1 seed, but Underground, maybe they'll do something at women's regionals there in the Northwest. But the next section, you got to hype this up because I'm hyped up on this team. Come on, I'm hyped.
But wait, they both qualified, so.
Oh, they both qualified.
Yeah, okay. So we're good to go. We'll see them next weekend. All right, Men's Northwest Plains, 18 teams, 9 bids. So Strike has kind of become like how do you say it when it's like the new favorite child? There must be
People's champion.
So Strike added Matthew Paget, Will Medwick, and Thomas Boyle to their roster.
The Thomas Boyle.
Sorry. If you want me to say you got to go the all in capitals. But so adding some sweet PBHG friends onto this roster. If this is such a favorite division for you, can you give us the breakdown?
Well, first of all, they had 2 brackets. One was called Applebee's and one was called Chili's. So my question to you before we even start is, have you been to an Applebee's or Chili's in your life?
No.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. It's a classic, like, American I don't know if it's just Midwest, but it's like pretty classic. Like, you can get like 2 entrees for like $20 there. It's like.
This is not an ad, by the way.
Yeah, I do love Applebee's though. I'm just going to say that. So anyways, Strike does well in their pool. Game's not really close. I was told by one of their players that they didn't get broken the whole tournament. If that's true, like, that is wild. So congrats to you for making that happen. Strike ends up beating House in the Applebee's championship. And then there's the Chili's versus Applebee's championship going on. And Strike defeats Mallard 15-8. So yeah, if they're winning by these score lines, then it's unlikely they're getting broken. They're winning like 15-6, 15-4, 15-8. For Frisbee fans out there that follow this region, you might be thinking, why is there no Sub-Zero? Sub-Zero actually lost to Mallard in the Chili's final. And that was actually streamed by General Strike. So thank you, because I was like, hey, what's going on there? And they were able to stream the universe point. Both teams had a possession, but Mallard gets the dub. So Strike should be probably the number 1 seed going into North Central Regionals. So we might see them in San Diego, Danny. That's all I'm saying.
I'm curious, when has Strike ever gone to USA Nationals in their history?
I'm pretty confident to say that they've never gone. There's almost no way, just because back when the North Central was really good, they had like Madison Club, there was Sub-Zero still. And so I highly doubt they've been.
Give us a fact check if we are incorrect, because this is a stat that I would like to know, because it's quite exciting seeing what Strike's doing this year, and it would be awesome to see them at USA Club Nationals. So rooting for you guys. Okay, so the Upstate New York mixed, we have 10 teams, 4 bids. We have the 3s and 4s end up crossing over with each other. The 2 seeds cross over, play each other, and the 1s end up getting buys. And so we have Union, Buffalo Lake Effect, Bench, Mashed. I just like these names, so I'm going to say them all. Compost Plates, all in Pool A. We have Garbage Plates, Townies, Crash, Zen, and Buffalo Brain Freeze in Pool B.
Yeah, there's some random teams.
Absolutely love it.
Like team names.
So Union taking care of business in their first game. They beat Compost Plates 13-1 to start. Then they beat Bench 11-5. They follow that up with a 13-3 win over Mashed, and they finish pool play with a 13-7 win over Buffalo Lake effect.
No, that's a team. Yo, anyways, that's a team I went to a tryout for before.
Do you know what's happening with this Crash versus Zen win forfeit situation?
Yeah, I didn't ask this. I should have. But I'm convinced that maybe they didn't show up or like didn't have like a full roster because their roster was already short to begin with. And all their games are saying WF. So that's forfeit, right?
Yeah. Okay. So Crash gets the easy dub against Zen with a score of W to F. And then, yeah, I guess it doesn't matter to talk about Zens at all, but Crash ends up losing to Garbage Plates 12-7. They lose to Townies. These names are so funny. 13-8. And then they have a win and a loss over Buffalo Brain Freeze. So not sure.
It's a B team of Lake Effect. And then the Compost Plates of the B team of Garbage Plates.
There's just too much. There's just too much happening. So anyway, let's skip over. We got the first place final. We've got Union beating Garbage Plates 13-10 and Crash losing out in the fourth place game. Does that mean that's just Union that's moving forward?
Yes.
There's only 4
Crash
bids.
Loses in the game to go. So they Crash beat Bench and then they lost to Lake Effect in the game to go. So yeah, that's what happens sometimes, unfortunately. I think Crash has been to regionals before, but unfortunately not this year. Now staying in Batavia, New York, upstate New York men's, 6 bids, 2 bids. And Phoenix just taking care of business. Okay, 13-3, 13-3. Holy smokes. Their first 3 games are 13-3. Then they win 13-1 over Buffalo Frostbite. Love that name. And then they win 13-3 over Mohawk Valley Wild. The final is 15-7 over Alibi out of Albany. But that's some domination from Phoenix out here. They've beat GOAT this year. They've had some good W's over the season. So the Northeast men's region is going to be very spicy because we'll talk about some of the other teams going. But that'll be good. And unfortunately, Danny, upstate New York women's, no bids, no teams that signed up. Sixers would obviously be in this section, but they didn't play. So no other teams signed up. That's kind of sad, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard if you're just like the one team. Would you get an auto bid to regionals if there's no one to play against? You'd think you must.
Wait, maybe. I think it would depend how they did. Maybe there were no upstate New York women's teams that played during the season. That I find that hard to believe, but
anywho, all right. The men's West New England sectionals, 6 teams, 3 bids. This was held in Williston, Vermont. Is that how you say that?
Yep, Williston, Vermont. Never been. Sounds like a good place.
Sounds like a good place. Okay, so one of my favorite. I mean, we have a couple favorite names in this, but I'm adding "You Need to Calm Down" as one of my favorite team names. So I just absolutely love that. So we have Sprout, Club M Mesa, and You Need to Calm Down in Pool A. We have Tire Biz Frizz, Theo's favorite, Mephisto, and Ascension in Pool B. So we have Club M Mesa losing 13-4 to Sprout. Sprout's a good team. And then they also end up taking a loss to You Need to Calm Down by 1. So a total heartbreaker. And then we have Ascension losing 13-5 to Tire Biz Frizz. Mephisto beating Tire Biz Frizz 13-9. And then
that's significant. That's big.
That's a big deal because, there's history. And then Mephisto versus Ascension, Mephisto overtaking that game 13-6. And so we see Club M Mesa playing against Tire Biz Frizz. They unfortunately lose that game. Ascension ends up beating You Need to Calm Down 13-6. So pretty convincing. So we have a Mephisto versus Ascension semifinal, and Mephisto wins that 13-6. And then we have an epic rematch from last year's sectionals. It wasn't the final though, but it was a game to go to a game to go. Is that correct?
Last year it was I think there were only 4 teams or something because Manic was there as well. But yeah, their first game was against Tire Biz Frizz and they lost, and then they lost to Manic, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so Tire Biz Frizz versus Mephisto. This one a little bit of a nail biter. So Mephisto ends up winning this one by 1 to take the first place out of this little section. We have Ascension losing in the third place game to Sprout 13-6, and Club Mesa Club M Mesa beating You Need to Calm Down 13-7. It felt like there was a lot of like rematches throughout this tournament, which is fair. Like I know these teams end up having to play each other a bunch, but anyway.
I mean, only 6 teams. That's what happens, unfortunately. But yes, we are correct. They lost to Tire Biz Frizz, and then they lost in the second chance area to Manic. So Mephisto, hey, let's see you make some noise at regionals. Let's go.
Come up.
Okay. Now they are on the come up. It's true. Women's West New England Sectionals 1-day tournament, Williston, Vermont. Everybody goes. Iris taking down Plow. Okay, these Plow scores are not close because Starling beat them 15-0 and Iris beat Plow 15-1. So that is just tough.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like, is that good? Okay, side note, but like, is that good for anyone? I don't know. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
That's tough.
It
like,
sucks.
Dang,
It sucks
like
either way.
13-1. Like it's hard out here. Like, or 15-1, excuse me, not 13-1, 15-1, 15-0. Like Iris is driving to Vermont to play 1 day, and one of their games ends 15-1. Like, oh, that's tough. Anyways, they do unfortunately lose to Starling 11-9 in the final. They'll still be going, but that's tough.
I know Starling's one of the teams that Ultiworld's been talking about maybe being able to get a bid, or like cause an upset in this eventual region. So definitely curious. Let's go, Iris. You got it. You can beat out Starling. All right. So mixed West New England sectionals, also Williston, Vermont. So they're having a bit of a party there. So 5 teams, 1 bid. Oh my gosh, that is spicy. So there is, you got some notes here, Theo. I don't understand what you're writing here. You got it.
Well, all you need to know is we are a club team out of Amherst, and then there was
Wait, that's the club team's name?
Yeah, we are a club team. That's actually their name.
Okay, so without the capitals, I was like, is this somebody saying this? That's
No,
funny.
Fine. We are a club team. We are a club team. Harfang was there, and also Lax, which has some Montreal legends, as I mentioned last time. And so it's a round robin. There was no bracket. Lax beat We Are a Club Team 12-8, which was going to be the hardest matchup. Harfang, they got a win over Zero Strategy out of Vermont. Love the name. But yeah, it was Lax who got the bid. So kind of cool to see them make it to Northeast Regionals. Maybe they can make some noise.
I mean, is Lax like a new team?
I think it's just a pickup team, honestly.
Yeah, because these names are legendary. I just haven't heard of this team before. So, okay, a pickup team, and they do their job, and they make it to regionals. Very exciting. So, men's East New England in Devens, Massachusetts. I've been there now. I can say that I've been to the historic fields.
Yo, that's a legendary fields out here for
evidently
regionals. Legendary.
So they have 14 teams and 5 bids. So we got Red Circus in the house, winning their first game 15-11 against Jerk Factory. And then they end up winning their next game over Lantern 13-9. Are they the only team from Canada that's in this section?
No, Jerk Factory, a team that, only the real like Frisbee historians know from New Brunswick. They unfortunately lose to Expendables 15-13, but they're a pretty not obscure, but like no one knows a lot about them because they don't go to that many tournaments.
I've heard the name before. I am stoked that that's a Canadian team because I think it's a sick name. So we have Red Circus kind of getting a bye right to semifinals. No, never mind. They play Big Wrench in quarters. They end up winning that very comfortably though, 15-9. And they end up unfortunately losing to Dig in semifinals 15-8. And where's I guess they are in the kind of consolation round. How many bids are there again?
Second place.
6 bids?
5. So they're in the second place bracket. They go in the second place bracket.
All right. So we end up seeing Red Circus play against Mystery Box.
Yeah, you might have to zoom in. There's a team called Red Tide, so it does throw things off because there's a team called Red Tide in this section as well.
I know. And so unfortunately we don't get to see the Red Tide Red Circus matchup, but we do get to see Red Circus Big Wrench, and then Red Circus ends up winning that one by 3, and now they're in the game to go and they lose by 2 to Scoop, unfortunately.
Yeah, second place final, not a game to go. There's 5 bids, so they're still good to they're still going to regionals. They're just the third team out of the section now.
I am not reading this correctly. Congratulations, Red Circus, on getting a bid to regionals.
Yeah, Jerk Factor, on the other hand, they lose to Crossfire to Boston in the 5th place round 2, which spells the end of their regionals hopes. So
if you go onto the USAU website and you check out this section, it's actually like insane to look at how the bracket kind of shakes out and like how big the whole thing has to be.
It's so silly.
There's like so many different qualifiers, and anyways, it's a whole mess out here. So if you enjoy puzzles, go take a little look-see.
Okay, last section is Women's East New England. Stella was there at this tournament. Just pulling up. Did I say West or did I say East?
I don't know, but it's East.
It's supposed to be East.
Yes.
It's supposed to be East. So looking at the results, Stella comes in 3rd in this tournament. It was a round robin going on. So they lose to Boston Siege 13-6 and Vice.
You said Stella. Do you mean Salty?
Have I been saying Stella?
You said Stella at the beginning, I believe. I mean, we can fact check ourselves later, but Salty.
No, it's definitely Salty. My Salty, East Coasters, true East Coasters, my apologies. It is you that played in this tournament, not Stella. Stella, I would like to see you at this sectionals next time. But Salty does get a win over Frolic, and then they also beat Versa. So they go 2-2 and finish 3rd, and they're going to regionals as well. So, I mean, there's a few Canadian teams going to regionals all over the country.
Yeah, and some promising regions for bids to nationals. I feel like this could be a record. Normally, like we're like, oh, we just want 3 teams and like maybe 4.
What's a record?
I don't actually know, but I feel like last year we were 3, right? We had 4: Goat, Traffic, Flag, and Sixers, I believe.
Yeah. Could we get 6 this year, maybe?
Because I feel like Furious should get a bid with that many. And then, I mean, we also kind of have Strike kind of.
The Strikers, man. The Strikers. We're counting on you. Seriously.
And Iris could sneak in there. Phoenix could sneak in there. There's like a lot of opportunities in these places. So let's go for 6. And then all the American teams can complain. They're like, why can't we play in Canadian nationals? Which is a good point. I understand, but
it comes up in the Discord.
I know, but we pay your fees. Like, relax.
Okay, is there a list of bids somewhere, like for regionals? I'm trying to like find it. Like where's like I want to know how many bids. Northwest is how many bids for men's? 3.
There is a list somewhere. There's also like a evolving list of teams as they qualify as well. That does exist.
That's true. Okay, well. Yeah, I think Furious has a good shot. Yeah,
they did what they needed to do. They earned an extra bid for their region. So, I mean, I think their goals is to win the region, not just like settle for taking the 3rd bid, which I think that's a good goal. So, I think the Northwest women's region is going to be like exponentially harder this year than it has been the last couple of years, which is going to be really exciting.
How many bids?
3 bids, but Traffic won the region the last 2 years, and Schwa and Riot are looking way stronger this year. So it's going to be exciting.
Okay.
Just as an aside.
I can see the bids now, yeah. Northwest has 3 in mixed too.
Yeah.
Northeast has 3 in mixed.
Oh yeah, Union?
North Central
we didn't even talk about Union maybe getting a bid to nationals.
Yeah, I mean, there's some, they won the section, so hopefully that gives them like a decently high seed, because some regional tournaments, they do like the 16 team like bracket, and then like they start with like the pre-quarter. So if you have a high seed, you end up getting a better matchup, right?
Yeah, it matters for sure. So that's it from us for the main event. I will be talking in the subs only about a little memory. It just came up on my feed. It's a memory from yesterday. Well, it was actually technically a weekend, but the memory came up yesterday on my Facebook from 8 years ago, where if you don't know me that well, you probably don't know this, but I'm very forgetful. And because I have ADHD, I'm very forgetful with my things, especially very, very important things. So I've lost many passports in my life. So many passports, in fact, that I had to write a letter to the passport office people saying, I will take care of my passport in the following ways. Before, they would allow me to get a passport for a year at a time. So there's a while where,
Wait, that's a real thing?
like, I was like a little kid and I had to write like the strategies that I was going to use.
Oh my God.
And I've actually been using those strategies. So good on you, Passport Canada. I haven't lost a passport since. So I'm going to tell you a story about how I got to regionals, even though I had no identification at all. So that'll be subbed only.
There you have it. Follow us on Instagram. We're still at 3K, road to 4K. College teams, send us the info. What's the deets at? Because there's tournaments coming up. Next weekend's going to be crazy because there's the Steel Town happening in Ontario. I think Quebec also having their tournament. And then regionals. So that's a fun time to be alive for the Frisbee fans out there. Okay, thank you for being a fan of this podcast. We truly appreciate it. Go listen to Danny share a cool story.
Thanks. Bye.
Peace.